Hey, it is me, unapologetically T, and I'm gonna cut this light on. I just don't want my battery to go dead. Matter of fact, I can run my car a little bit. Turn off. So I wanted to come and do a video on forgiveness, an update, because I've done plenty of videos on forgiveness, and I'm happy that I did. I felt like all of these things I talk about, right, it's not a straight line. It's not like this linear path thing. It can look any kind of way. I feel like it'd be zigzags all over the place, like, and that's kind of like how I learn. Like, that's my learning style. Is very chaotic, but I also can be like very centered. But I like learning that it's free. And so, like, sometimes when we're on this healing journey and we're learning the things we need to heal in ourselves, like, it can be a spiral, it can be a circle, it could be it can be so many things. People learn different ways. And so for me, I would love to say that, like, if it was a needle on the paper, like, the paper would just be chaotic and different spirals, lines, circles, all combination. So I would say forgiveness for me, when I first started this out, I don't even remember what the fuck I said, but I said what I said for whoever needed to hear that. And I said what I said where it honored who I was at that time. So I'm happy that I never deleted it, because my views changed. I think we need to normalize that life is an evolution. It's a bunny rabbit that just passed me by. I need to see what that means. Life is an evolution, and we grow. We are hypocritical at points in our lives because our views change. What we once believed in and what we once thought doesn't always remain the same, and it's not supposed to, because you're supposed to be constantly changing and growing. Saying all of that, what I've learned about forgiveness and the importance of forgiveness for me is, there were people, and there were family members. They were family members or close friends of the family who literally committed atrocities against me. And at first, it was like, I felt like, I knew this concept that, like, everything happens for a reason. And, like, everything that happened transpired for my best interest. However, until things like horrific, severely traumatizing things happen to you, you do not know how it rewires the brain, the effects it has on the brain. Literally, people who suffer from complex post-traumatic stress disorder, literally, they do scans on the brain, and their brain has brain damage. So when we think that these events and these situations that occur that are severely traumatizing don't have lasting effects on people, we're sadly mistaken. And we need to heal, and we need to stop telling people not to be angry at people. That is a part of the forgiveness process. Just like you have a grieving process, forgiveness has a process. Forgiveness, sometimes you want to harm the person who has harmed you, and that is all fucking okay. Some people do it. And do I shun them? No. You shouldn't have did it to them. So literally, people can snap and say, fuck it and fuck you. And I feel like I honor them. I honor them. I honor them. I honor them. An eye for a fucking eye. That is a part of forgiveness sometimes. And I can forgive you once you understand how I feel, right? So it might not be the forgiveness you are taught. It might be forgiveness that feels uncomfortable to you. But it is a part of the forgiveness process. You can say what the fuck you want to. It is a part of that grieving process. I have felt this great deal of pain. I have felt this great deal of loss. I am literally trying to navigate how to feel better. And some people literally won't feel better until it's an eye for an eye. That is forgiveness for some people. Okay, we're cool now. We're even. I don't want to fuck with you no more, but, like, we even. We're even. Sometimes forgiveness is just that. I don't even get even, but I don't want to fuck with you no more. I'm setting the boundary that you have no space or area in my life. That is a part of forgiveness. I'm letting go of you. I'm letting go of you. So letting go can be a part of, I think that is like one of the biggest parts of forgiveness. Definitely when we come into severe trauma. Now, you got levels to forgiveness. Like, well, you stepped on my toe. It hurt me when you stepped on my toe. Oh, I didn't mean to step on your toe, but I really am sorry for hurting you. Is there anything I could do to help you? Do you want me to wrap your big toe? Can I go get you some ibuprofen for your big toe? Like, people are easier to forgive someone who stepped on their big toe and said, hey, look, I'm sorry that I stepped on your big toe. I did not mean to step on your big toe. However, I understand even though my intentions wasn't meant to step on your big toe, I want to see how I can make amends and help you feel better. I'm going to go get you some pain medicine. I'm going to go do something to make you feel better so that you can feel whole again. Literally, forgiveness can look like that in a healthy situation. But when we talk about these toxic situations and these people just want you to say, oh, I forgive them. I forgive them. Bitch, I was burned alive as a 4-year-old. I was burned alive and not given fucking medical treatment. You mean to tell me I can't be fucking mad for a while? After I done suppressed this shit and I literally took up for this bitch and I literally was brainwashed to take up for this bitch and I literally had to deal with her over and over again during family functions and had to sit around her and fucking act like what happened didn't happen. Oh, bitch, I'm mad. I'm mad. And that was a part of my forgiveness. You fuckers that raped me, a part of my forgiveness was to be angry. A part of my forgiveness for myself was to be angry. That was me honoring myself and my feelings. I finally got to feel my anger towards what you done to me. People who snaked me. I finally got to feel that shit. But society will have you feeling like you can't feel anger. Society will have you feeling like you can't feel anger to get to forgiveness. I feel like most times you do feel anger and pain before you can really truly get to forgiveness. Forgiveness will always look different for every situation. Forgiveness will look different for every situation. And they have a saying that forgiveness is for you, it's not for the other person. And I would say that is in a situation where there will be no amends. That is very truthful for a situation. We look at stuff as so finite, like it is only one way and it's that's it. I told y'all in my last video that like we really need to look at when we're teaching and we have these traditions on how to live life and the way of life, that we allow for flexibility because everything is not going to be the same. That mentality is for a situation where you will not get to make amends with the other person. Forgiveness in a healthy situation is for both parties. It's for both parties. If I am a healthy person and I hurt you, it hurts me that I hurt you. So I really would love to have your forgiveness that I hurt you. Like, it's just common sense. Like, it would go both ways for both parties. I would like to receive your forgiveness, and I would hope that you forgive me as long as I can make this right and I'm not going to keep hurting you. Like, that would be a healthy situation where forgiveness is for both parties. You're forgiving the person and you are basically healing, the part in you because you're allowing them to make amends with you. So like it will go, that would be a reciprocal forgiveness, like where forgiveness is healing both individuals. And I think that's why we don't do forgiveness right, because we're not looking at forgiveness as a healing thing. Forgiveness is a healing concept. Forgiveness is a healing concept. Grief is ultimately a healing concept. Grief is showing you what you need to work on and what you need to get through. Grief constantly nags at you to address your shit. Whoever died put you on a grieving cycle to figure out some shit. We need to bring back our ancestral roots with this. The grieving cycle is literally just the grieving cycle of you figuring out your shit. My grieving cycle, when Dante died, he wanted me to figure my shit out. He was not going to let me rest until I said I was going to take care of myself. And neither was the other people in my life that loved me. Neither was the other people in my life that loved me. My spirit squad was not going to give up on me until not until they wasn't gonna give up on me. They wanted me to learn to love and take care of myself. You took care of all these other motherfuckers. You done protected all these other motherfuckers. You can love and protect yourself. If you can do it for them, you can do it for you. And that was my grieving cycle. And the more and more I faced that, and the more and more I worked on myself, the more and more I showed up for myself and I protected myself, my grieving became less hurtful. My grieving process becomes less painful. I can literally deal with my loss as a blessing and not a loss. It's not a loss. It's a loss, but it's not a full loss because Dante's spirit still protects me, still with me. I got the best part of his spirit at that. Like, literally, it's a win-win situation. And so, literally, my loss is not the same loss that I once perceived it as. Like, my loss was a loss, but it made space for something so fucking beautiful that I could have never imagined. And I'm so happy that God found me worthy for that. Like, I'm so happy. Like, I'm so grateful for that. But forgiveness is another process. It's another cycle. Forgiveness in severe trauma is for you. Usually in severe trauma, when you're dealing with narcissistic abuse and you're dealing with people who can't take accountability and you're dealing with people who will never give you the fucking satisfaction of the day to tell you that they fucking hurt you and that they were wrong and that they're sorry. They won't even acknowledge it. And even if they do for 1 second give you a dry ass weak apology, you feel it in your soul and your spirit that they don't mean it. They could give a fuck and they turn around and do it right over again. They just go ahead and just do it again because you're still there and they're wondering why your dumb ass still there. And I say that with so much love and compassion because I felt like that about myself. And so I have to say that to y'all because I do talk to myself rough. And so sometimes I talk to other people rough and they take it as I'm being harsh, and it's just that I grew up in severe abuse. So like, sometimes I talk like that and I'm unlearning it, and sometimes I keep it because it's funny and I mean it as a joking for like light way. But people don't like being called dumbasses, but I was very fucking foolish. Let's use foolish. They do it over and over again because you're foolish, and until you take accountability that you shouldn't be there anymore and that yes, they were wrong but you played a part in it, that's when forgiveness is for you. You literally, usually in severe abuse, you wake up, you're angry as fuck at them. You finally figured it out. You always knew, but like, it's no denying it now. Like, it is no more denying that these motherfuckers are sick and twisted and sadistic and literally were trying to take you out. Like, you can't deny it anymore. It's there. So you become angry. It's a grieving process. You become angry. You become angry at them. So it's more of an outward projection of, how dare you do this to me? That is normal. That is safe. That is okay. I will say this. Literally, feel your feelings. Pray. You're going to need prayer when you're coming out of these situations. You're going to need lots of prayer. Lots of protection, because you might feel like you want to seek revenge. You might feel fixated on revenge. I really was. And it ain't went away. It's still there. It's just I'm not fixated on it. Like, yeah, you gonna get what you deserve. Like, no, I'm not sparing you. That's not my forgiveness. Shit, you gonna get what you gonna get come Judgment Day, the same way I am. Like, you gonna get what you gonna get. Shit. I'm not gonna say I got forgiveness in my heart because I am clearing their slate. Bitch, your slate is your slate. Your slate is your slate. If you severely traumatize me on some wicked ass shit, your slate is your slate. Ain't no undoing that, baby. Ain't no undoing that shit. I just want to make that loud and clear. However, when you get past those points of severe anger, severe rage, and you aren't being given permission from God. Some people be getting permission from God to have an eye for an eye. We need to normalize that. But if you're one of those people that you haven't gotten permission from God to make it do what it do, without, some wicked consequences, you literally are going to have to get to a point where you have to forgive yourself. So now it's no longer this outward projection of, you did this to me, you harmed me, I feel unsafe, oh my gosh, I can't believe that this happened to me. Once you get past that thought pattern and that process, let's normalize allowing people to take as long as they need with it. All I say is just try not to get stuck there for too long, because if you get stuck there for too long, then it eats away at your soul. But a healthy balance of it is actually freeing of your soul. You are releasing your anger. You are releasing that you didn't feel safe, that you did feel, unprotected, that you were harmed. It is a it is a realization of what has happened to you. You deserve to be mad. Once you get through that process, and I feel like I get to a point where, like, okay, I'm tired of being angry. I'm tired of even feeding them my motherfucking energy. So, like, that's the point I'm at. Like, I'm tired of even getting you my motherfucking energy of me being angry at you, and I can't do nothing to unalive you. Like, cause God telling me I can't do that shit. So, like, I gotta sit back and wait. Like, I gotta sit back and wait for you to have your justice, and that's fine. That's okay. I trust God. I have faith in God. So, like, I can't get an eye for an eye right now on this situation. So, like, that's where you gotta get to a point where you're like, all right, you start to realize you mad at yourself too. You mad at yourself because you didn't talk about it. You mad at yourself because you could have put an end to it. And I'm not talking about in childhood necessarily, but most kids who suffer from severe childhood trauma tend to grow up and be adults who suffer from that same childhood trauma. It's just with different people, and it's different cycles and different people. So, like, literally, it repeats into their adulthood. So I'm talking about the adult version of you. I'm not talking about the child version of you. You never should have even been put in that situation that you had to make a decision on how you was going to show up for yourself, because those people were supposed to protect you. Adults were supposed to protect children. Adults are supposed to protect children. Adults are literally guides and protection for children so that they don't fucking fall off a cliff and kill themselves. Like, that is literally what we're here for. We are literally just here to guide and protect their ass. We are not here to fuck them up. We're not here to fuck them up just because you was fucked up. We're not here for that. That's not what we're here for. Like, you supposed to make sure they don't kill them fool selves, and that's it. You are allowing God to work through them and navigate them the rest of the way. But you're like the 3D guide for them. You're the 3D guide for them. So, saying that, anything that has happened to a child, you don't have to take the blame for that. That is their fault, and that's the part of you that's angry starting out. The child in you has realized, like, this is what you've done to me. The adult in you have realized, this is what you have done to me. This is what you've done to me. And then you get to a point, is like, okay, well, they did it. I'm still here. I'm still in this bitch. I'm still here. I can't believe in my adult life I allowed you to keep doing it. Because sometimes we allow the same family members that abuse us as a child to keep abusing us in our adult life. And then we also go out and pick people in their likeness to abuse us some more because we're addicted to the abuse and we don't know no other way. Like, we don't know no other way. Our brain has been wired to think that this is the only way. We have been conditioned and brainwashed to think this is love. Because society teaches us that your parents love you. So my parents and my family members can't not love me. So this just means this is what love is. So literally, you get to this point in your healing journey, in your forgiveness journey, that you realize, like, okay, as a child, it wasn't my fault. As an adult, I am actively picking these situations. I actively allow who is going to be in my life to be in my life. I actively am attracting people that are the unhealed versions of myself. or that the unhealed versions of myself is attracted to or drawn to. I literally played a part in my adulthood abuse. I literally played a part. Let's normalize, stop telling children that you can't blame your parents. You can blame your parents. Your parents are a piece of shit if they treated you like shit. Let's normalize that. Your parents were a piece of shit if they treated you like shit. Let's normalize that, because I couldn't move past that. I had undying loyalty to these motherfuckers because I felt like, oh, well, society said you gotta love your parents, and my parents taught me that you gotta love your parents and honor and respect them and all that shit. But then they missed the point in the Bible where you're not supposed to bring your children to wrath. But you pick and choose. You pick and choose. You pick and choose. So literally, let's normalize. Yes, children can grow up and see that their parents are heavily flawed, and if they have a set of parents who are not willing to take accountability, they need to fucking detach. They have to detach by any means necessary. Those people are not for you. They are probably empty vessels who did not complete their missions in life, and they fell victim to a fucked up system, and that's not your problem, and you're gonna have to figure out how to detach. I understand it. My hardest detachment was my mother. Literally the hardest detachment that I had. One of the hardest detachments I've had, like, is just literally saying that my mom is an empty vessel and that she did not make it back. She pretends for other people. She puts on a show for other people, and behind closed doors, she is not who she show up as in public. And she have a false sense of, she keeps it real. She keeps it real disrespectful and blunt within the household. And she mistakes that for keeping it real. But when it comes to real deal facts and recalling what has happened in life, she keeps it real twisted. That's what she keeps it real. And I put my mom on a pedestal for so fucking long. And I think out of all my abusers, the person who has hurt me the most is my mother, because my expectations out of her were far greater. Her role in my life and her putting her on this pedestal as a child, because I seen her have to take care of us by herself, and I seen her struggling, and I knew she was hurting. My mother was deeply fucking depressed when I came in the picture. Like, my mother was deeply depressed. She didn't have the resources, and so I sympathized and empathized with her over and over again. She did teach me some good shit. She did teach me some great shit. However, she failed to protect me. She failed to protect me against the people in her family, against the people that were close family friends. And when I say that, I mean my stepdad. I mean that on the strength of, these parents gonna have to pay for their sins. Like, you can't. If my mother would have said, hey, look, I am so sorry, like, that this happened. My mama knew, and I knew my mama knew. Like, I knew my mama knew. And she used to ask me all the time. Like, she used to ask me all the time, was he touching me? Did he do anything to me? Like, she used to ask all the time. She used to wake up out of her sleep in the middle of the night fussing at him because he was pacing the hallways. Like, my mother knew. When I talked about what happened when I was a little girl with my father, my mother knew. She knew he was doing something to my sister. She always used to tell me that when she was first dating my father, that him and my sister had an inappropriate relationship. So my mother knew. So it was like, why, if you knew these things were off about these men, why did you continue to let your daughters be around them? And I think it speaks volumes to her own upbringing. But however, I can understand her, but I can't excuse her abuse anymore. And that was like one of the hardest detachments that hurts. I still don't know what my grievance cycle will look like if she goes before I do. However, I had to learn how to detach. I had to learn how to take her off that fucking pedestal that I built, and that she kind of conditioned me to build, right? A lot of parents condition their kids to build them, put them on a pedestal. We are not God. When I say God, I mean we're not the ultimate source to our children. We have to normalize allowing our children to have authority over themselves instead of trying to take that authority, then put them out in the real world and tell them to take up for themselves, to advocate for themselves. You strip them of their authority. You just took the authority away from them, of them having authority over themselves. You are not to strip your child of their authority. You are to simply Allow them to make some mistakes on their own. Put the brakes on them when they're about to fucking do something that's really gonna harm themselves. Like, you're a guide. You are a guide. You are a guide. You are a portal for this new life to come in and make a difference and a change in this world. You are not the person that is supposed to strip them of what they're supposed to do. And I just want to make that clear, because that came to me. Like, a lot of people be like, you can't blame the fuck. You can't. They're going to take accountability for their actions, and the way that my forgiveness has shown up is doing just that. Look, I release you. All this shit you've done to me, it's here. It won't go away. But I know how to manage it way better. It hurts way less. Does it still affect me in some moments and some occurrences? Yes, but nowhere near like the fuck it did. It is not running and ruining my life, thank God. And I release you. I release what you mean to me. I release what you gave to me. It was never mine. That's not my malice. That's not my heart. That's not me. That was you. You pumped that poison into me. You take it back. You take your poison back. That was yours. That was yours to have and keep and figure out how to break and figure out how to stop the cycle, and you failed to do so, and you tried to give it to me. It's yours. Return to sender. Letting go of what these people mean to you is very freeing. A mother, she is in definition of she gave birth to me. A mother, she is definition of she did really teach me, but she also taught me some fucked up ways. And I got to a point where I had to like balance out the scale. The shit she taught me, I could have learned from anybody, but the shit that was bad should have never been taught to me from a parent. And I've had to do my own work with my own child, because I seen how it affected me, that I had to learn, I already knew this though. Like, me and my child always had a relationship where like I apologize to her, but like it's a deeper level of making amends and apologies and having conversations. And I always said I didn't want to come back here. I think it was the greatest gift from God for me to come back here, even though it felt fucking horrible and miserable at first. It was the greatest gift from God for me to come back here. And I say that because coming back here has afforded me and my child so much understanding of why I operated the way I did, why I chose the people in my life that I did, why. And I say that because I have to take accountability once I got grown, right? So we both get to see, like, because I feel like my daughter got to see a different version of my mom. She treated her different. She still has some verbal abusive shit going on with my daughter, but my daughter, she allowed my daughter to talk shit back to her. Like, whereas, and when we was growing up, we couldn't do that shit, or your ass was gonna be laying in the dirt. So, and I won't going up against her. And so, yeah, that lady scared me, and I'm not scared of much. Like, so, but it's like, now I'm grown, like, bitch, I'm not scared of you no more. Like, you're not the bully no more. Like, it's like when you have that bully, like, and then it's just like, I'm not afraid of you no more. I'm not, like, and so just, not only was she not protecting me from other people, she did have her moments where, she took shit out on us, and she still do have her moments where she try that shit, and she's very manipulative. She play mind games a lot. That's how I learned how to be very good at mind games. It's from both of my parents. My daddy speaking parables. My mother plays the most wickedest mind games to get what she want from you. She uses finances to try to do that shit. Like, if she do something for you, then she holds it over your head about you not showing up for her, and it's like, but you're my parents. And I mean that from like just being a child. I ain't talking about just as an adult, like, even though it carried on into adulthood. But yeah, she kind of uses what she does for you as manipulation. Like, it's And if she do something out of the kindness of her heart, it's done from a place of what she would have wanted done for her. It is never done out of like, I care for you, I know you, I think you would like this, so I'm doing this for you. It's more of like, oh, well, I didn't have this when I was growing up, so I'm gonna make sure you have it. And it's like, we got to stop doing that to our kids, and we got to see where our kids lack and meet them where they lack. And so I've been afforded so much growth and healing, and just that, just seeing the shit for what it is, seeing that it wasn't just me. I always took blame and thought I was a bad child. I thought I was the one that was wrong. I thought these motherfuckers was right. And sadly, you know, it took so long, but I'm here. And so I did have to take accountability for the role I played in my adult life. I actively made a lot of decisions to continue to get abused. It doesn't take away from those people don't have to pay for what they've done. People who do bad to good people and kind-hearted people, you have to pay for that. You do not get to go unscathed. So let's see. You do not get to go unscathed. You do not get to be free of punishment for what you do to other people. However, for the person who is trying to heal, you have to forgive yourself. A lot of us is skipping that step. And we're skipping that step. I was missing the point that forgiveness is for yourself, not because that lets them off the hook. That's how I felt it was. It was like, oh, well, if I'm forgiving myself, then like, I didn't do it. The fuck? Like, what am I forgiving myself for? Like, I didn't do it. But it's actually going to come a part of your healing process that anything that transpired in your adulthood, you're going to start to see that you were a part of the problem. And that's good. That's not a bad thing. That's called taking accountability. If you were in an abusive situation and no one held a gun to your head, yes, psychological abuse, and yes, people can be coerced. I experienced that to a severity. You can literally be coerced. People will utilize your love for them and take advantage of them. But deep down inside, you know it's wrong. Deep down inside, you're choosing other people because you don't love yourself, and you come to a realization of that. And that is one of the hardest parts that people have to face, is that I didn't love myself. I didn't value myself. I value these people over myself, and I refused to put myself first. Like, why would I do that to myself? And some people get stuck there and they become bitter. They become bitter. They become very hyper vigilant towards everyone, and like it's a stage as well. It is a stage just like you go through anger. However, you do not want to get stuck there. If you get stuck in this stage of bitterness towards yourself or others, if you find yourself seeing people be in your same shoes and you have judgment against them, like I don't understand what's wrong with them, and you literally had a similar situation, that means you haven't forgiven yourself. That means you are still harboring feelings towards yourself for the shit that happened to you, and that you know you could have showed up differently and changed and did something different. However, if you could have, you would have. So you have to forgive yourself. You have to realize that, like, I was operating out of a consciousness that literally I did the best I could. I didn't know what I knew right then and there. Like, I know what I know now, and I forgive myself. And so I had to go through these steps. I just felt so unworthy. I felt so fucked up. I felt like I was the wrong one, and I felt like I should have just told. I felt like, why didn't you just tell? And then I processed all these reasons. It was multiple reasons why I didn't tell. It was never just not one reason why I didn't tell. It was multiple reasons. A lot of times, people don't realize, people who go through severe abuse, whether it's sexual, physical, financial, mentally, like, mental abuse is the worst. Psychological and sexual abuse is far worse than somebody beating the shit out you. And I say that with love and respect to people who have have suffered severe domestic violence as far as physical abuse. I've been on both ends of the hands. So literally, I do say this with love, kindness, and respect, and I say it out of experience. Literally, you can get physically hit and see that you're physically hit, see that you have been physically harmed. When you're dealing with psychological abuse, sexual abuse, you cannot always see the internal scars. But when you are physically abused, you are more able to see that this physically damaged you and it internally damaged you as well, because you have the physical sight to see it. But if you are being emotionally abused, sexually abused, it tends to leave scars you can't see. It tends to leave scars that you can't remember. That is one of the reasons that people do not tell, because they end up pushing. It was so horrifying to them what they were going through and experiencing, that they have pushed that memory so fucking deep that they don't remember everything. Like, they know it happened, but they can't recall the shit to you. To recall that shit mean to live through it again, and they could not do it. To do that means death to them. Like, it literally means just put me out my misery. That's why their brain has literally said, we can't, if that person gonna continue to be here, like, we can't even allow them to recall this. So it can be that severe. And a lot of people don't want to tell, because if you tell, that means that you're going to be questioned by, not even, let's just say you have a supportive family member or a friend that you can go to, but then that means you got to go to court. You're going to have to talk to the police. Then that means that, when you talk to the police, they're going to take this story, and they're taking this story fresh when it happened. And then, because that's if you tell when it first happened. So then when you tell when it first happened, then you go to court and let any of your fucking minor details be off. Let any of your minor details be off. You said you wore red, instead of you wore blue. You're a liar. When in all actuality, your memory recall is off. You went through a traumatizing event. You know what happened, but the details are off. The timing is off. What day did it happen? That shit, because you don't want to remember. You don't want to remember. That shit is painful. That shit is painful. And then you have other people who literally, in domestic violence situations, sexual abuse, all that shit, like, literally make it hard for real victims, because they play the system. They play the system. And it makes it hard for real women, men, and children who have been severely abused to be believed, because they can't recall that shit properly, because their system is protecting them. And so a lot of times people don't tell for that. That was one of the reasons it was like, well, I don't have proof. And it's like, I don't need fucking proof. Like, I know what happened to me. I know what happened to me. I know what happened to me all these years. I pushed it down. I had many reasons why I didn't tell. I was trained to fucking take off of my abusers. It was so many reasons I did not tell. Where was I gonna go? I didn't have a family that fucking loved me, like a biological family. And I'm not gonna say I didn't have a biological family that didn't love me, but I didn't have a biological family that I was close with, if that makes sense. Even the ones who I do know were safe, they weren't gonna take me in. They had their own fucking set of issues and problems and life and all that shit. Like, where was I gonna go? Was I gonna go in the system and get treated worse? Where was I gonna go? So literally, I wanted to run away lots of times in my childhood. I packed my bags lots of times. Like, I would walk, and then God would tell me, just you got these options, and I was just like, you know what? Like, I don't even know what I'm doing. Let me just go on back and sit that shit down. But everything happens for a reason, and you get to that point in your healing. That's another process in your healing. None of this shit happened for no reason, no matter how horrific it is. So if you are in the process of healing, I would advise you not to touch that part of it. If you haven't come to terms with you taking accountability for the role you play in your adulthood trauma. So this is for me, this is my processing with it. Once you come to terms of your your adulthood cycles and what part you played in it, because it's only a part. It's not the whole thing. You only played a part in you staying. You only played a part in you tolerating the abuse. However, that other person who was committing the abuse, they played their part. They played their part and they got to deal with their part. But you play your part too. And so once you realize, like, okay, I'm mad at myself too. And I don't even realize it. Like, I'm mad at myself, and now I'm realizing I'm mad at myself too. I'm angry at myself. Why the fuck would you do that? Like, why would you even have that problems? I didn't really have that a lot because I always took accountability. Like, all that shit that was happening to me, I've never had a problem with taking accountability. That's one thing I can give myself. I've never had a problem with taking accountability. Matter of fact, I would take accountability too much so. Like, I would not leave space for others to take accountability of their actions. Like, I literally would internalize it and feel like it was my fault. So I didn't have to go through that grieving process of forgiveness that deeply, because like I've always the whole time felt like, well, you know, what's wrong with you? Why are you here? Like, I used to feel like that. Like, why are you here? Why would you deal with this? Like, why would you tolerate this? And I did get help. That's another thing. Sometimes you have in my adulthood, I finally got help. Like, I finally got help for myself. I begged for it as a child, but as an adult, I finally got help for myself. So like, a lot of this is we look at it from the point of our realization, when the whole time, unconsciously, like whether you're aware of it or not, consciously, unconsciously, like all this shit is leading up to these different points. And so literally, I started this healing journey before my partner had died, and before I started telling on everybody. Like, I had literally started my healing journey before then. So accountability, I was already doing. I was already taking that. So I didn't have to sit in the accountability seat for too long. However, if you do have to sit there, you have to give yourself grace and forgiveness that literally you did the best you could with what you knew. You did the best you could with what you knew. I think once you realize that you could forgive yourself, you realize that you trust yourself. You're moving towards trusting yourself. You're moving towards, and when I say trusting yourself, trusting that when you deal with people in life again, because a lot of times we're in isolation or whatever when we're going through this deep healing, and even if you're not, when you're going through this healing journey and you're literally dealing with other people in life, I talked about like being so guarded, and so you kind of almost block out everybody and everything, or you try to go towards people too soon and it becomes like this clingy attachment. And I've done both. Where it was super guarded and then it was super clingy because they felt safe or whatever. So, but the safety is within. The protection is within. You have to come to a point in forgiving yourself that you trust that you will make the right decisions for yourself. You will know a person is not good for you right away going forward. Like, once you forgive yourself, like, you literally free yourself to trust yourself, to show up and protect yourself, to be all those things that you needed in the first place, so that you don't have to revisit those cycles. Like, it is a grieving process. It is a learning process. It is all the same thing. It is trying to teach you something. It is trying to get you to heal. It is trying to teach you that it is less about these monsters and more about you not turning into them. It is more about you freeing yourself and saying, you know what you did to me was pretty fucked up. What I allowed to happen to me in certain cases was pretty fucked up. But I forgive myself because I understand why. And I no longer want to participate in this behavior or with these types of people. And I want to show up for myself. I want to protect me and all that stuff. And to the abusers, I don't forgive you because you're going to get off scot-free. That's not my forgiveness. I don't forgive you because you get to do it again. That's not my forgiveness. Like, I don't forgive to forget. I forgive you because I'm not carrying your shit no more. Fuck you. Carry your own shit. And that's the end. Like, that's forgiveness. Forgiveness for toxic, fucking abusive relationships that literally have no amends in it, that it can't be mended. The forgiveness is for you. And I understand that now. The forgiveness is for you. It is a releasing, it is a letting go of the uneasy feelings you have for yourself and the uneasy feelings that you have for them. I kind of mean that. I have some uneasy feelings, but like I said, I'm not fixated on it. I'm not hyper fixed. That shit not ruining my life. It doesn't live rent free in my head. But you ain't getting off scot-free. That's what I mean by I kind of meant that. Like, you're not getting off scot-free, but I'm not carrying your shit. That 100% I mean. I'm not carrying your shit. And just to let y'all know, like, I understood this growth when I finished. Like, I be getting tested all the time, and I be telling people, like, I don't feel like getting tested. Leave me alone. But life is nothing but a test. And I think for me, while the testing that I'm afforded is not to hurt me or harm me, it is to check in on me to see how I'm doing. Like, where are you at with your growth? And I say this to tell this story. So literally Memorial Day weekend, I signed up to do Corona Reiki. Corona Reiki, I did a whole video on it. It was very like ADHD for real. I need to do another Reiki video. Like, but I'm gonna post it because I said, like, I have to start posting my content again, just as is. Because I slowed up posting. I'm tired. Well, I'm not tired anymore, but I was so tired. Like, I just needed a break. I literally went through a grieving process when Ryan Hinton died. Like, that literally, I take on feelings of other things, and I'm starting to understand that. Like, I can feel the feelings of things that God has me connected to. And so literally I was dealing with that and trying to process that and all that stuff and get all my feelings about that. So lots of anger. I still have some residual anger. But I can only imagine how his father feel. And so and I get pieces of outrage of it. And so it's not even just imagery, it's a feeling, if that makes sense. So I don't know. I say that to say that, like, I was taking this Corona Reiki class, and that's like the kind of like for Reiki, that's like this final piece of like ultimate Reiki master type shit. Like, I don't know how to put it. We was laughing about like grand master Reiki, like, so we really don't give a fuck about these titles as far as the healing community. I mean, you do got some motherfuckers that got stroke their ego, but like, I don't really care about the titles. I really care about having the wealth of knowledge so I can help other people and pass it along. And so I literally say I believe wholeheartedly that Reiki is for everyone. I believe a lot of these closed practices, because Reiki almost died off, but I believe a lot of these closed practices, whether Black, Native, because everybody has stuff that they close up because things were stolen from them from, you know, the white man, and literally they had to close it off. So, however, information is dying off. However, I really am a true component and believer that information will never die. Like, it'll just be given to someone else through a download or a message, and it will be created to, you know, refurbish into something new and something, you know, something old, something borrowed, something new, literally. So, however, if you want to keep tradition, and when I say tradition, I mean the foundation of where it started, you're going to have to start opening these practices back up when it's due time. I think that it's going to be a time and a place for that. So as of now, I feel like keep it closed. And that's just my stance. you'll be called to let certain things and certain people into stuff, but like I feel like right as of now, keep things closed. But I think that at some point we're gonna have to open up ranks and allow this knowledge to be shared with those who are worthy, whether they're look like you or not, as long as they're on the same page as you, frequency as you, they should have access to this, because everyone deserves healing. Everyone deserves to learn how to be healers. You need healers in your communities and your families and all that stuff. So we got to restore that. Tangent, but Corona Reiki literally is for that more severe trauma based healing. It also allows for trauma based healing that victims do not have to speak about, but it does have areas where they can if they choose to. Everybody is different, so I like that about Corona Reiki, is that it has this space for healing without you having to relive it. And then if you do are one of those people that you want to talk about it, everybody's different, it has room for that as well while you're healing and doing all that stuff. So that has been my passion since I started learning Reiki, was to learn Corona Reiki, just because of my own background and experience in sexual abuse and physical abuse, just psychological abuse, period. If it's abuse, you name it, I've been through it. So literally, I'm on my way. It's the last day of class. I'm on my way back home. My daughter calls me because I'm telling you, like, all the times I've done Reiki, it has been emotional releases. So like it has been unveiling all these like hidden emotional pains, or like just emotional healing, the things you can't see, but the things that I know, is there. So I literally would always have this physical, this emotional purge, or I would just say this emotional purge, an emotional healing of things. This time, this time, it wasn't emotional. I think that there's a level of work I've done. It is not no completion of healing at all, but I think there's a level of healing I've done that emotionally, like, there's this settling and grounding that has happened. But physically, I felt so much pain in my body after I got my like attunement, you could call it ignition, whatever you want to call it. I just was in so much pain. And it started the first day, and I had been feeling like little pieces of pain leading up to, the session, the classes and stuff like that. And they will say, like, when you doing these classes or you have sessions and you have intentions on healing, you will start to begin the process of the healing way before the practitioner lays hands. So I found that funny because I didn't make that connection, but I was in a lot of pain the first day. So after getting my ignitions, like, I just felt like, what in the fuck? And then the second day, I just felt like extreme. I couldn't even sit. I was extremely tired. Like, I was fatigued. And it wasn't like I did anything new. It was still like my same routine. But I just was so tired and so much pain. Like, it was, and I'm a high tolerance for pain. Like, but it was so painful. And so I was having physical releases, and I say that, I guess it's all leading up to some shit. So I say that to say I'm on my way home on the last day of class, and my daughter calls me. I'm about to stop to the grocery store to get some stuff so we can have Chipotle at home, because Chipotle kind of scares me in the conditions that a lot of these restaurants keep their food. For definitely Chipotle, like, I was done with Chipotle the last time she said, let's go. It always make my stomach hurt, and it didn't start out that way. I used to eat Chipotle all the time in college, and it's like, this ain't right. Chipotle used to felt like it was actually jive like a little bit healthy when it first came out, and it's like, now this shit, I don't know what's going on. But I went in there, and it was like, I saw this nigga take his hand and wipe the counter off with his hand, and it was gloved, and he, wiped the counter off and then put it in the trash can, then came back, didn't change his gloves, and commits to fixing the person's food, touching all on the burrito. And you gotta touch, but like, it was like, I need y'all to realize that, like, gloves don't mean you're clean. Gloves actually are worse than your hands, because gloves hold that shit more than your hands do. Like, literally, if you're going to use gloves properly. You got to change them shits out. You cannot just keep using the same gloves over and over again. All you doing is dragging the germs from what you did before to the next thing. So, like, if you go touch money and you got gloves on, you literally are bringing the germs from the money back to the food. Change your gloves out. If you just took your hand and swiped that nasty ass counter that food been sitting on after you did serve 10 people, like, like, I just don't, it was so cringe to me. And then it was just like all these little wet spots on the counter. Like, all I could see was germs. 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 It was just not properly cared for at this Chipotle, and I've been turned off ever since. And that's one thing that's gonna happen to you when you start to wake up. You start to see just how, like, fucked up shit is. And you don't even have to be a germaphobe. I'm not a germaphobe. Like, I don't mind my germs. I don't want yours. Like, I don't want yours and everybody else's. Like, I feel like if I'm going out in public to be served, like, I want it to be clean. Like, but, like, even when I'm cooking for somebody else, like, I cook differently from somebody else than I do for myself. Like, if I'm cooking for somebody else, I am making sure, like, we clean over here. But if I'm cooking for myself, nigga, I probably just scratched. I'm just saying, I just probably just scratched somewhere, and I ain't thinking two thoughts about it, and I'm not talking about my ass. Like, but I'm just saying, I'm not thinking about it. Like, I'm just not thinking about it. It's my germs anyway. Like, I don't care. But I would dare do that with nobody else. Like, can we normalize that? Like, can we normalize that? So anyway, we was doing Chipotle at home. Look, I'm long-winded. Ugh. God help me. I'm not cutting it out. So, she had called, but I'm thinking she called to make sure that I picked the stuff up. So, and I'm tired. Like, I'm so tired. I'm so drained. I'm so tired. This shit is energy work, right? So I'm just so tired and so drained. I'm just like waiting to just get in the bed. And I even, when she called, I was like, can you just please clean the tub out? Like, I need a bath, like, and I don't even like taking baths in her tub, but I was just like, I need a bath. And so we get to talking, and she was like, I didn't call for the stuff, because I'm thinking like she called for, what I needed to do at the grocery. She was like, no, I called because I was going in the house, because the part that she's in is a little separate from the house. It's conjoined to the house, but it's a little separate. So she was like, I was going in the house to go use the bathroom, and literally she was like, when I walked past, she was like, before I even came in the house, she was like, I heard a man's voice, and I was like, who voice is that? Like, I know that voice, but I don't remember it. And so she was like, and she was like, I was wondering why I even cared that I heard it. Like, and she was like, so then she was like, when I came in the house, she was like, Nana took the phone off speakerphone and put it on, well, she said she heard the voice clearer and she realized who it was. And she was like, Nana put the phone on speakerphone. She took the phone from speakerphone and put it on just regular, like, so you can't hear what's being said or who it is. And so she was like, so then I walked back to, the part where I'm staying at, and she literally was like, yeah, well, I went to use the bathroom, I come back out, she's still talking to him. And I was like, well, who is she talking to? And so she was like, you ain't gonna believe who she talking to. And so I'm like, who is she talking to? So we just doing this little thing, and she was like, your dad. And I was like, what? Well, which one? Like, she was like, grandpa. And so I was like, oh, okay, because she don't call my stepdad grandpa. So I was like, oh, okay. And so and she was like, You know, what's so funny to me is I realized that, like, number one, she was like, number one, I mean, she shouldn't be talking to him. But she was like, what's really even funnier is that if she wanted to argue that she didn't feel like anything was wrong, why would you take it, off speakerphone? So that further lets me know that you shouldn't be talking to him. So, like, it's clicking with her, like, yeah, very weird behavior. And then I was just like, I was over this anyway, because when I first came out about it, like, I literally had to tell my mom, like, why are you still talking to my dad? Like, that shit is hurtful. I told you that he was touching me. Like, why are you still talking to him? And, like, she would literally still talk to him. And she would literally, like, tell me, not only would she talk to him, she would tell me she would talk to him and then tell me what they talked about. And it's like, bitch, I don't care. I've literally told you I don't talk to this man no more. Why are you bringing him up? And so I used to get triggered. This go around, it was just like, you know what? Like, I can't control her. But it was a situation where I think it was less for me. I mean, it might have been a test to test my temperament. But it didn't bother me whatsoever, because it's just like, I accept her for who she is. I know who she is now. That does not shock me whatsoever. It actually speaks volumes about who she is. What she is doing with me, she did with my sister. My sister did have a set of issues, but now that I know what I know, I can only imagine why. Like, my sister accused her husband before she met my dad and my stepdad. She accused, my sister way older than me, so my mom had a husband. My sister accused her husband of messing with her. And my mom still talks to that man to this day. My mom continued to talk to that man and then tried to flip that shit on my sister. Like, well, why was she, I don't understand if she felt like, I don't understand if he raped her, why does she still talk to him? Bitch, you still talk to him. You conditioned her to feel like she should be able to still have a relationship with her abuser. Like, and she don't realize that she's the wrong one. She don't realize that she's the wrong one. So, like, I just be like, you know what? You painted her out to be the bad guy. Like, I ain't never went around here fucking with nobody for no reason on average. Like, that's not my MO. What excuse you gonna give to yourself for me coming out and saying this? Like, what how can you run from this? And not only, like, you keep repeating this cycle. And so I guess it's just like, in my mind, it's like the cycle is with me and Charlotte, and any kids I have beyond that, God willing. So but I didn't feel triggered. I literally felt like, you know what? Like, how the fuck can I be flabbergasted? Like, she done showed me numerous of times, over and 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 over fucking again, that she don't. Not only do she not care, there is something very sick, twisted, and sadistic in her. And I pray for her. I forgive her. I do not excuse her. What the fuck soever. I don't. And it's funny too, because before the day that this happened, literally when I left town to go do the Reiki, when I came back, my daughter, the morning that it was my last day of class, like, my daughter was singing to me, swing low, sweet chariot. You know that little song, some carry me home, swing low, sweet chariot, carry me home. And I was laughing. I was like, oh yeah, you must know we ready to go. Like, we ready to go. Like, we ain't gonna be here. Like, this is not permanent. Literally, it is our time. It is our time to go. I done learned what I needed to learn. I respect the process. It's just feel like it's this point of, like, like, it's not even in this dismissive state of, like, I don't care or whatever. Like, it is a peaceful revelation of she is who she is. I can't change her. And I think that a lot of times we do get stuck with abusers because we are trying to change them. Change yourself. Change yourself so you can break the patterns of why you continue to stay. Like, why you continue to stay. And for me, a lot of times I continue to stay because I'm scared of what's next or what's to come. A lot of times I continue to stay because I have a warped view of what love is. It's a culmination of things, and you gotta learn what makes you tick and what makes you do all that shit. But like, I've even gotten to a point where, like, when she do fuck shit like that, like, when I first got here, I would have pulled up on her. My daughter would have called me and told me she was talking to my dad. Like, I would have pulled up on her ass. And it's like, now it's just like, I'm not going to do that. Like, what I'm going to get from that? Like, oh, I know you talk to my dad. Like, bitch, she going to talk to him some more. Like, that is speak less about me and more about her than I can say. Like, less about her. And even before then, she brought up, before I even left town for the weekend, she brought up that one of the family members asked her when was the last time she talked to my stepdad. And she brings up, well, me and him don't got nothing to talk about. Like, why would I be talking to him? And you guys, like, literally, when I came on and told her about him, she literally picked the phone up and called him and warned him. And she literally, was talking to him, after that. So, like, she literally stopped talking to him only because I think she knew, like, that one, I know deep down inside she knew. She saw him touch one of my other friends. She knew he had a sexual relationship with another friend that used to come by the house. Like, she knew. And she didn't even take up for those girls. Like, she didn't even take up for those girls. I don't know what's in her head. Like, I don't know what's in her head. Like, if you thought it was okay when he was fucking touching other kids, like, you didn't think he was touching yours, bitch. Like, that is crazy work. Like, that is crazy work. It is a cycle. Women who chooses the abusers over their kids, or over, I'm gonna stick with kids for right now, but there are women that choose abusers over other women too. It's a mental illness. A lot of the shit that they call mental illness for us is actually not a mental illness. It is actually you dealing with a sick society. The shit that's actually mental illness, like, our rape culture, our violence culture, where you can do violent shit to other people, but they can't do anything back to you. That's a mental illness. What the fuck you mean? What the fuck you mean you gonna keep fucking killing me and I can't kill you back? It's a mental illness. What do you mean that you think you're superior over me, but you still ain't even up to par, and you done had your foot on my motherfucking neck for 500 years? That is a mental illness. Racism is a mental illness. What do you mean you gonna talk to the abuser and choose the abuser over your child? What do you mean? What do you mean? That is a mental illness, and I don't care how I care how it exists, so that we can make sure that it stop existing. However, I don't care to excuse that shit just because I understand why it's happening. And that's where I'm at in life. And it didn't hurt. And I don't think it doesn't hurt because of a numbing thing that I'm doing, like a self-defense numbing thing. It doesn't hurt because I have accepted her finally for who she is. My mother has been mentally ill for a very long time. I like to think that I have been living with demented people throughout my lifetime. And when I say demented, I just mean that they have been vessels that literally has not had control of themselves. They have allowed evil in, and they did not win, and evil has taken over, and they try to pop in and out as themselves just to draw you back in. And that's what evil does for them. Evil allows them to kind of like show up, and it's a peekaboo effect. And I think that's why we play peekaboo as children, to let us know that these spirits be spiriting. But you got good spirits and you got bad spirits, and peekaboo, I see you. And that's what I feel like I'm dealing with in this situation with her, and just from my childhood up. I've been dealing with demented souls. And I actually call myself a demon slayer, and I play with demons, and so it makes sense. However, I ain't playing. Yeah, I ain't playing. I'm Liz now. Her, it ain't no fixing it. It ain't no making it. It should have never been my responsibility to make amends. And a friend told me that. And it didn't register at the time. I mean, you know what you know. So like, it's not. I know a lot of things, but it's application. It's application. You can know all the shit in the world. If you don't know how to apply it, it's a waste. It is a waste. And so I know what I know. It's just about applying what I know. And sometimes that take, lessons. Sometimes it takes failing the test and trying again until you get it right. And it's not you just getting it right to pass the test. I can get it. Look, I can take a test all day long and get it right to pass the test because I know what I know. But as far as application, is that gonna stick? No. You can know what you know and you pass the test because you got the answers. But if you can't apply it, then you're not gonna be good at you or what you got to do in this world. So I think like I'm just at this point where like, I know what I know and I know how to apply it, and I'm learning how to apply it to her has been liberating. Allowing my daughter to see what I grew up with. She had a different perspective. I mean, she knew my mom was a little off, but she didn't know how deeply off until she started hearing some of this shit she would say, and then how she would try to like twist it. Like, she one of the things, like, it's funny because like my mom always openly told me like she drank with me while she was pregnant, and probably did some other shit too, but she probably ain't gonna admit to it. I don't know. Literally, so she told me this, and so like when I got older, I was like, like maybe you drink, because she was like acting as if like she didn't know what was wrong with me. So I was like, maybe you drinking with me, maybe that shit made me off. Just as like it was a dagger at her, but like me and my daughter was in the kitchen at the time, and like so my daughter like was hearing her, and she was like, yeah, I drank with you, but it wasn't like I was drunk. And she was like, I just probably had a beer, I just probably had a beer or two or something, like some shit that like basically was still admitting to you fucking drank with me. So it just was like I triggered her, and I wasn't, like I knew I was triggering her. Like I was doing it purposely because she was trying to trigger me. And it was like, bitch, don't go there. Like, don't keep trying to. She's always done that my whole life, trying to act like, what's wrong with you? Like when I make certain choices, and it's like, bitch, it was you. It was y'all. Like, that's what's wrong with me. But it's like you get to a point where you grown, and it's like, all right, well, it ain't just you. You started this, but like I'm gonna finish it. And so I'm just past the point of even when she do hurtful shit, when she bring up my stepdad, even like she started that conversation before I left town, and was like, yeah, I know you don't want to hear this. So why the fuck is you telling me? Why the fuck is you telling me? Yeah, I know you don't want to hear this, but such and such asked me about when the last time I spoke to Troy. And like, yeah, I said his name. I don't care. Fuck him. Literally, she was like, yeah, but I don't have nothing to even talk to him about and all that shit. And it's like, then my daughter caught you trying to sneak and talk to my biological father. So like, it's just like, wow. And I remember us having this conversation. Like, I was like, what? Why would that be your response when the last time you talked to Troy? Like, we don't have nothing in common. Like, why wasn't your response that, like, I would never fucking talk to him again? Like, don't even bring him up to me again. Like, why wasn't that your response? Like, what the fuck do I need to talk to him for? Like, it was more of like me and him don't have nothing in common type shit. And it was like, well, you was talking to him prior to that, before that y'all didn't have nothing in common. Like, so it just was weird to me. And I was like, yeah, I don't want to hear about this pedophile. Like, I don't. And I said it straight like that. I don't want to hear about a pedophile. Why are we talking about a pedophile? Like, why would that even be the conversation? Like, why would you even try to bring that up to me? You keep your demons to yourself. Like, you keep your shit to yourself. Like, and I don't even talk to her like that no more. I say it and thinking in my head, but I don't even say that shit to her no more. Like, cause I'm not feeding you my energy, bitch. Like, that's what you want. You want my energy. And you can't have it. And I'm just at peace that when I leave here, there is no return. I owe that lady nothing. I used to always feel like I owe her something because she was my mother. But she signed up to be my mother. And I always just had dreams of, like, you know, making her life easier. And because I just felt like she had such a hard life. But bitch, I had a hard life too. And she's in a deficit with me, matter of fact. She's in a deficit with me. I don't owe her nothing. And I did want to update you on that debt that we had. I don't even owe that no more. Like, so we're even. And I say that on camera and I say that online. We're even. And I've been paying to stay. So leaving here, God, I ask you to give me the ultimate strength to never fucking look back. Allow me the ultimate strength to not be Lot's wife. I did a video like, well, ain't it like, shouldn't you look back? And I don't think they was talking about looking back in that. Like, the Bible speaks in parables. And so, like, I think more of, like, Lot's wife looking back is the desire to return to the abusive situation. And so it doesn't mean that you don't reflect. It doesn't mean that you're not going to have, you know, pain. And from those people, it might get less and less until there's none there anymore. It's a process. Trust the process. Sometimes it can happen like a switch. It just depends on what healing you are afforded. Healing shows up different ways. Literally, like when I wanted to stop smoking, it was like a switch. But all this other shit, it was like literally had to go through a process. And with the smoking, it was kind of a process too, because I did smoke some herbs just to like appease that action until I didn't do that anymore. And so literally, yeah. My lips are dry. Literally, yeah, I'm just at this point where, you know, I ask God in front of y'all. Like, I pray to God in front of y'all. Like, I already feel that I had this strength to not look back. But, like, my worst fear is that, like, you know, she's my mother. Don't let that come up. Like, she was the lady who birthed me. She did some things right. But I'm starting to realize, like, well, I have already realized that she did a lot of things wrong. With me. Who she showed up to be with everyone else, that's on you. However, what I won't be tolerating is nobody in my family telling me, but that's your mother. If that's your sentiment, you go do it with her. You go be with her. I won't tolerate nobody in my family taking up for her as far as the situations that occurred about me. You go fuck with her. You go fuck with her. But I also ask God for the strength that, you know, to just break that contract with her. Like, she birthed me, and she failed miserably. I'm sorry. That's just all I can say. I mean, at the end of the day, God gotta judge her. But I just feel like I've been dealing with an empty vessel for a long time, a peekaboo effect. And I just grew up confused about that was love. And I don't think no child should have to grow up with that type of love. And I'm pretty sure she grew up with it. So we tend to repeat cycles that we endured in our own childhood. So, but like I always say, just because you can understand it don't mean you can excuse it. Don't excuse the abuse. So God, not only just with my mother, with all things, with this society, this broken society, these broken systems, may I never return to abuse again. May I never think twice that I'm missing out on love because I am turning away from abuse. Abuse is not love. Abuse is literally masquerading around as love, and it's deadly. Abuse can be deadly. Even if a physical vessel is still here, psychological abuse can rob you of your soul and of your spirit. So be careful out here who you choosing to love, who you choosing to play with. Be careful out here how you have undying loyalty to family and friends. If you are not being treated right, you gotta go on about your business. You know deep down inside, like I knew deep down inside it wasn't right. It's just that I didn't know any other options. I didn't think that any other options existed because that's what I was constantly being showed and I was constantly being drawn to. And so seek therapy if therapy is your jam. If you have tried therapy over and over again, I suggest seeking other means of healing. Reiki is a very, very good means to healing, and Reiki has saved my life. I would say that finding Reiki, I was definitely led by God to find Reiki, and it has been such a beautiful experience. And I can't wait for the day that we all know Reiki. Like, I just can't wait for the day. It is a lot of things that I just can't wait for the day that we all know how to do. But we must forgive ourselves. We must forgive ourselves. Now, forgiveness with a healthy situation, we must allow others to make amends and show that they are willing to not do things again. Sometimes we can have wrongs that are by accident. Amends still should be made, because even if it wasn't your intention, if you was walking around with a knife and you stabbed me and you had no thoughts of you was gonna stab me, but you just stabbed me by accident, like I ran into you, I still got stabbed even though it wasn't your intention. So like we have to learn that intentions are valid, but if it wasn't your intentions, then you make what? You make amends. So we have to allow people to make amends for mistakes. So we can't just condemn people because of mistakes. But if a pattern or behavior continues to repeat, that's not a mistake. That is it's a pattern. It's a cycle. And if that person is not willing to break it, because there are some people willing to break their cycles. If a person is not willing to break it, you must distance yourself. You must protect your own peace. And I thank God for affording me the learning of that. I thank God for the people that he put in my life that literally triggered that, like literally showed me, like, you know, this is where you need to work at. Like, this is what you need to work on. I thank God for my daughter calling me this Sunday and telling me that, and just seeing that, like, I didn't have the same reaction that I normally would. And it wasn't because I was numbing my pain or thinking that she would change. It was because I accepted her for who she was. And that acceptance, radical acceptance and forgiveness is awesome. It's freeing. You just get to accept people for who they is. The only person you should change is you. All healers know that you are literally just guiding people to them healing themselves. You are jump starting them. You are guiding them. You are not to be the one to try to change them yourself. They got to be willing and wanting to change. And that's where I'm just going to end this. I'm happy that my daughter gets to understand maybe some of my past mistakes. Like I said, just because she understands me, or understands my past thinking, doesn't mean that she has to excuse my abuse. So like, literally, she shouldn't excuse my abuse just because she understands, because she didn't know a lot about my life. I tried to keep a lot of stuff from her, not realizing that's just gonna make cycles repeat because I'm not telling her what's wrong. So literally, she's been able to have an understanding of why I made certain mistakes that I made, and that she also gets to see that I have been fighting tooth and nail to fix and right my wrongs. So that has been beautiful and healing for the both of us. I have seen so much growth in the both of us. Both of us are just blossoming and coming back to life, and it has been a beautiful experience. And I am going to go ahead and head in and try to get some sleep. And forgiveness has been a journey. So just like healing, forgiveness is its own little journey. You know, just like grieving, there's grieving and forgiveness. And so there's these different steps, and it's not linear. Like, some people might take accountability for their part first. Like, I used to always take accountability for my shit and theirs. And I had to learn that was toxic. I can only take accountability for what I've done. And so you got different steps. You meet yourself where it's at. I think forgiveness can be ever evolving, and it looks different situational, and I think that's why we don't do it right, is because we try to look at it as this linear thing. We also look at it from a colonization standpoint, that you have to let your abusers continue to abuse you, and that's so fucking false. Not all forgiveness takes retribution and an eye for an eye, but if someone is repeatedly taking you out and physically abusing you, I think the answer would be choose violence, not peace. I'm gone.